everybody, what's going on? Kio-chan here, and welcome to another Saturday on MissionOtaku. As you guys know, we've been debating long series versus short series. And today I'm going to wrap up this debate in a nice little ball, comment on what everyone was saying, as well as add a couple of ideas of my own. Throughout the week, I was writing notes on what everyone was talking about, so I have a clear idea of where this video is headed. And for the most part, I have to say I agree with a lot that was said this week, though there are a couple things I do disagree with a little bit, and I'll comment on that later in this video. I also did a quick little calculation to find out where my average was per series, and I got about the same as Britt. I got about 50 episodes. And that makes sense to me, because I do tend to gravitate towards series that are between 12 and 50 episodes. Though I also am not intimidated by series that tend to go longer than that, and I have a couple of them in my collection. I have the entirety of the Dragon Ball franchise, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Naruto, Bleach. I've also seen a little bit of One Piece that is well over 100 episodes long, so I'm not really intimidated by series that tend to go over 100 episodes, though I tend to stick with them because of the story. If the story is really good, I'll stick with them to the bitter end. Though there are a couple exceptions to that rule, like Pokemon. Pokemon's well over 600 episodes, and I stopped watching that for a period of time because I lost interest in it, but now I'm getting back into it, so there are exceptions to everything. I also agree with Dylan when he says that shorter series are more enjoyable to watch because you don't really have to spend that much time and effort in watching them. And it does make for a better experience. But I also have to disagree with you, Dylan, a little bit on what you're talking about with filler arcs. I do agree for a majority of the time that filler arcs mainly are there to milk a franchise and they really don't advance the plot all that much. The one that exemplifies this idea is Bleach. Bleach is just one series that's being milked for all that it's worth. And the filler arcs that are part of Bleach are just pulling it in so many different directions that I think it's losing its identity. It really is losing the point of the franchise. And it's really hard to stick with it because of all that nonsense they just throw in there. But I'm going to watch it because that's what I do. I give everything a chance. No matter how terrible it is, I'll give it a shot. So, you know, the Bleach filler arcs really don't do anything for it. It just puts in these random side stories that have nothing to do with the major plot, and it just is irritating to everybody. And I really think that Bleach could have ended a lot sooner than it did. It's still going. It's still going, actually. I think they really could have ended this whole thing with Aizen, but from what I've heard, they're continuing even past that point, so I really don't know what's going on with Bleach. The one series that I think that doesn't really fit into that idea is Naruto. Now, I do agree that Naruto fillers are there to milk the franchise. That's what all fillers are there to do. But I think that the Naruto fillers do have a little bit more value than, say, the Bleach ones. The original Naruto fillers, I think their main purpose was to develop the secondary characters that we really don't see all that often. And when you have so many characters, it's kind of necessary to, you know, develop their characters a lot more. And I think that's what those major filler arcs were for, was to develop those characters. Now, the Naruto Shippuden fillers, I think they also do character development, but I also think that those filler arcs kind of do advance the plot a little bit. Not to say they do a lot, they do it a little bit. For instance, the latest filler arc, which was the Konoha history arc. Now, they did a lot of flashbacks during this particular filler arc, and it was annoying. But I think it also has this comparative value. It shows us where we were, where we are, and where we're going. So I really think it does have this, you know, way of moving the plot along a little bit. Then there was that whole entire thing with Sora. When, you know, they had this kid who was, like, troubled, and then there's these other guys from Asuma's past, and all this other stuff. It kind of ties into the story, because after that arc, we go into the whole thing with Hidan, blah, blah, blah. So it really does kind of tie into the story. So there are a couple of examples where the filler arcs do give the series a little bit more value. I tend to like the Naruto Shippuden fillers more than the original, but that's for another topic. So that's my views on filler arcs. They're there to milk a franchise, and sometimes they really don't advance the plot, but there are times when it does benefit the series. Nick was talking about the story and its importance, and I totally agree with that the story is the major factor in any series. And he mentioned this concept of series identity, where a series knows where it's going to start and it knows where it's going to end. And one example he gave was Bleach. And quite honestly, I don't particularly agree with that. I don't think that Bleach has that direction where it knows where it's going. With all these filler arcs, it's been going in so many different directions, and it's just been going on and on and on with, like, there's no seeable end to it. I mean, it's been going on with this whole entire thing about Ichigo and his adventures as a substitute Soul Reaper. Then we went to the whole thing with Rukia, then we went into filler arcs, then we went into these other crazy creatures, and then we went into this whole thing with Aizen, and it's still going. It doesn't make much sense to me that it has an end somewhere in sight. I don't see it. I would have stopped it with the whole thing with Aizen, because I think that Aizen was like this major player in the series, and I think that would have been a perfect place to stop it. But, hey, what do I know? I think out of the big three that Naruto has the greatest identity. Because throughout the series, it's just been this constant thing about Naruto and his quest to become Hokage. Whether it's through character development of characters around him that help him to get that goal, or if it's through all the trials and tribulations that he has to go through all the arcs, whether they're regular or filler. It really does have this path that leads toward the ultimate goal, which is for him to become Hokage. And I can see an end. I can foresee what could possibly happen at the very end of Naruto. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a major battle between Sasuke, Naruto, and Madara. I think that they're going to have this major battle somehow, in some combination, and the ending result will end the series. If Naruto dies, he may get an honorary title of Hokage because he was such a great shinobi and all the things that he did, or he'll actually become Hokage after defeating his enemies and saving people and putting an end to this whole entire concept of hatred. And so I really think that Naruto does have this direction to it. Nick also talked about the key to a great series, and that's the fact that a series, when it ends, makes you want more. And I agree with that. I do think that's the mark of a good series, but at the same time, I also disagree with a little bit on that, like Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is an amazing series, but the way that it ended was kind of disappointing. And that's because the manga series was continuing. And the fact that they didn't go back and make like a spin-off like they did with Inuyasha kind of, you know, made the series lose a little bit of its value, in my opinion. I still like Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is an amazing series, but I really think that they should do something with that because it really doesn't bring everything together like it should. And there's so much of the story that's just not told, and it really should be told. So, you know, it really depends on the series and where the manga is and what they do with it afterwards and all that kind of stuff. So, those are my thoughts on long series and short series. For me personally, I'll watch anything. It doesn't really matter to me, though, like I said before, I tend to gravitate towards those series that have shorter lengths of episodes. Though I will go into episode lengths that are way out there in the hundreds. So it really depends on the series and depends on the story, but for me, it doesn't really matter. I can go anywhere. So I'm flexible. So that's all I'm going to say for this week. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope it makes sense. I think I was rambling a little bit, but for the most part, that's what I think. You guys can disagree if you want to. Just be respectful about it. And that's it for me. Next week, we'll find out what our next mission is, and I think I'll be back next week. If not, one of your subs will be here. And that's it. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you later. Bye!